Dividing decimals. Cadence recently fell while hiking. She experienced a severe injury to her right leg. Due to the location of her injury and her extreme pain, her advanced practice nurse will be testing her muscles for compartment syndrome. The pressure measurements within her muscles read 32.1 and 28.7. To determine the severity of her compartmental syndrome, let's find the average pressure. When finding the average, we need to add all the pressure readings together and then divide by the number of pressure readings. So, for this scenario, we are adding 32.1 plus 28.7. So, we add this together. 1 plus 7 is 8. Bring down the decimal. 2 plus 8 is 0. Carry the 6 because it's 10. 1 plus 3 plus 2 is 6. So, we have 60.8. Now, there's 2 readings, so we need to divide the answer by 2. So, let's use long division to divide this number. So, when dividing decimals, we begin by checking to see if the number that we're dividing by has a decimal. And since the dividing by 2, there is no decimal. This means that we can first write the number 2 and then the long division symbol and put 60.8 in it. So now we can begin to do our dividing. So now 2 goes into 6 3 times. So 2 times 3 is 6. So we minus that together and we get 0. Then we bring down the next number, which is another 0. Now, since 2 cannot go into 0, we put 0 on the top. So 2 goes into 0 0 times. So now we subtract. So 2 times 0 is 0. So 0 minus 0, 0. Now we bring down the 8. 2 goes into 8 4 times. So we put the 8 there. And then we subtract, which is 0. So we have an answer of 304, but we are not done yet, as we need to place a decimal. So we'll just bring the decimal straight up from the number inside of 30.4 then, just like the 60.8 below. So this means that Cadence has an average pressure of 30.4 on her leg and is probably suffering from compartmental syndrome. Now, before we move on, let's go over some important aspects about dividing decimals. When we're dividing decimals, we first need to check to see if there's a decimal in the divisor or the front number. If there is a decimal in the divisor, then we need to move the decimal in both the dividend and the divisor. So move the decimal in the divisor and dividend. And if we run out of digits, then we can add zeros. Behind the decimal and the dividend because we do not want any numbers left over. And after dividing, we move the decimal straight up. In this next example, we are going to divide 50.7744 divided by 3.2. In a fraction, the second number is the number on the bottom, so we will be placing the second number out front. So this number is known as the divisor, and since we cannot have decimals in the divisor, we need to move the decimal point before we begin dividing. And so we start by moving the decimal in the divisor, and we need to move the decimal in one direction to the right, and so we need to do the same to the dividend. So let's do all of this. So 3 goes into 50. So let's move the decimal over 1 on the divisor, And we're going to do the same to the dividend. So now we have 32 going into 507.744. And now we can start our long division. 32 goes into 50 one time. So 32 times 1 is 32. And we do minus, and we have 10 minus 2, which is 8. 4 minus 3 is 1. So we have 18. Now we're going to carry the 7 down. So we're going to estimate that 32 times 5 to see what this is. So 2 times 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 1, which is 16. So if we go 32 times 5 is then equals 160. So let's do this subtraction problem, which we get 27 from this. Then we also have to bring down the next 7. And now 32 goes into 277 how many times? So let's estimate. Let's do another one. Let's just say 8. 32 times 8. So 2 times 8 is 16. Carry the 1. 3 times 8 is 24. Plus 1 is 256. So if we added another 32, it would be much higher than our 277 times. So we know that we are doing well with 8. So we'll put the 8 above and put 256 below. And then do a subtraction. 7 minus 6 is 1. 7 minus 2 is 2. 7 minus 5 is 2. So now we have 21. Now we're going to bring down that 4. And then we have 214. Next we have the number. Let's just try 6. So 32 times 6. 2 times 6 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 6 is 18. Plus 1 is 19. So 192. Now let's do this subtraction problem, which we get 4 minus 2 is 2. Can't go 1 minus 9, so we carry, so we borrow. So 11 minus 9 is 2. So now we bring down the next 4, which is 224. And now 7 times 32 is what? So let's go 32 times 7. 2 times 7 is 14. Carry the 1. 3 times 7 is 21 plus 1, which is 224. So now we put the 7 above. Whoops, and we forgot that 6 before it. My bad. And then we'll just bring that decimal straight up, which is between the 5 and the 8. And so we have an answer of 15.867.